Good morning, children. How are you? Fine. So, do you have any question? Have you gone through the topics what we discussed yesterday? Okay. Okay, no issue. Let us have a recapitulation of the topic whatsoever we have discussed in this chapter and particularly in our last class. See, in this second chapter from the book Politics in India Since Independence, we discussed about the challenge of building democracy, how to build, how to prepare, how to lay a very solid foundation of democracy in our country. Nation building, we discussed about that and the way electoral competition began. In fact, in our last class, we discussed in detail how was it a uphill task for us, how did it take place, what times, what effort had been put by the Election Commission of India, and against all odds, against the apprehension of the world community, experts, intellects across the globe, we decided to go for a first ever election in a continental sized country like India based on universal adult franchise. And we succeeded. Whosoever had criticized us earlier, they started congratulating us. They started giving their thumbs up that this in this way elections must be conducted anywhere, and then it was proved that democracy could be practiced anywhere in the world against the prevailing sayings or dictum earlier that democracy or democratic election is something that is possible only in prosperous countries. Those days, because it has been prevailing in European and North American countries. That's why we proved it wrong and we proved them wrong, and we established the fact that democracy could be practiced anywhere across the globe, provided your intentions are genuine. Fine. Let us proceed towards the topic of today, that is Congress dominance in the first three general elections. Yes, children, first general election we discussed, their outcome, in fact, we are going to discuss now, and then the other next two elections. See, it means first election, second election, and third general election we are talking about. When we are going to see the result of the first general election, Indian National Congress was expected to win this election, and the result of this election didn't surprise anyone. In fact, Congress Party, because it was popularly known as Congress Party, but in fact its name was Indian National Congress, INC. This party certainly had one biggest advantage in its favor, that it had inherited the legacy of the national movement. Yes, this was the party that has spearheaded our national movement, and now this party carried the legacy. So it was the only party to have such a large or vast organization spread across the nation, all over the country. It has its organization, it had its branches, it had its followers, members, active participants, and how can one forget that this party has a popular and charismatic leader like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. They started their work campaigning, visiting, touring through the entire nation. Campaign was over on the day of voting. Vote has been ensured by almost 50% of the people. Means voters turnout was a decent one, 50%, more than 50% people they turned out. And when the results were published, results were declared rather, results were out, this party, Congress Party or Indian National Congress, won 364 seats. Yes, children, 364 out of 489. For 489 seats, election had been conducted for the first general election, Lok Sabha. The second party, the party that stood at second place, was the Communist Party of India, and this party won 16 seats. Another thing, what we must keep in mind, that along with the first general election, assembly elections, state elections were also held, children, with Lok Sabha election. Okay, nowadays, few states they used to go with the Lok Sabha for their assembly election, but because it was first time, so all the states means assembly election we also had along with the parliamentary election, first general election. Congress in that election also scored impressive victory, big victory for Congress in a state assembly election as well. Majority of seats Congress party won in most of the states except few states, three rather, Madras, Odisha, and Travancore Cochin. Travancore Cochin was a state those days in today's Kerala. Okay, but it was the policy, or it was the influence of the Congress those days that they succeeded. They managed to form a government in these three states also, despite the fact they couldn't get clear majority. And because at center 364 seats had been won by the Congress party, then certainly Pandit Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru became now the full-fledged, means his party formed the full-fledged government. The tag of interim government got removed now, and he became the prime minister after the first general election. Fine. Now, this was the story of the first general election. When we go to find the electoral map, the page you will find in your video also, slides also, and here also we are going to discuss it. We will go to see the second and third general election. Second general election took place in 1957, second parliamentary election, and third parliamentary election took place in 1962. Yes, the gap is of 5 years, children. So, the Congress maintained almost the similar position, similar margin Congress maintained, and by winning almost 3/4 of the seats, Congress won 3/4 of the Lok Sabha seats. In the state assembly elections also, Congress, though in few cases didn't get majority, but in most of the states it used to get majority. But in 1957 general election, yes children, second parliamentary election, you will find that in state assembly election in Kerala, Congress couldn't get a majority, neither could succeed in getting majority, nor could form a government. So the government in Kerala in 1957 election was formed by CPI. A coalition government has been formed led by Communist Party of India. Okay, and except this Kerala, entire nation and all the states, it was the government of the Congress party. Fine children. Now let us have the look of this map that had been given in your slides, and on your book also you will find it. 1952 to 1967, this election you will find, and their map had been given here. Okay, now you come to see that what has been the characteristics. You are finding here three color. First, the yellow color. In the yellow color you will find that states ruled by Congress during 52 to 67. It means from first till third general election, almost for the term of 15 years. It was all about which party? Yes children, it was all about Congress. Now, when we are coming to the first general election, means out of the 489 seats, Congress party got 364. Okay, as I told, second place it was Communist Party of India, but in fact it was the independent that got 37 seats. Okay, now the second color you will find here, that the second color shows, that color is your red color, that is the symbol of the left front government. Democratic Front government in Kerala, 1957. That was the first non-Congress government established in India. Fine. And then blue color, you are finding the Jammu and Kashmir, because National Conference had been ruling there, and their story is something else, Jammu and Kashmir, because there was a special status given to the Jammu and Kashmir. Fine. And then some, we are having a Northeast Frontier Agency, Naga Hills and their other related areas. Okay, Andaman and Nicobar Island. Now, see, Indian National Congress got the majority, 3/4 in fact, children, but at second place the party who were there, they got very less number of seats. If we go to see the condition, the number of Lok Sabha seats 5 increased, means number went up by 5 from 489 to 494. Okay, and here in the second general election of 1957, Congress party won 371 seats. Means here the number exceeded by 7. Total number of seats of Lok Sabha was up by, it went up by 5, and here the number of seats Congress increased its tally to 371. And again in the 494 seats, same in the similar in the third Lok Sabha election, third general election, we are finding that Congress got once again 361 seats. It means that first three general election, it was all about the dominance of the Congress party, undoubtedly, children. Okay, now when we are going to see that what has been the factor responsible behind the victory of Congress. Okay, then what do we find? That the extent of the victory of Congress, it was also artificially boosted by our electoral system. The Congress won 3 out of every 4 seats, but it didn't get even half of the votes. Despite the fact it got 3 out of 4 seats, but even half of the votes it couldn't get. So, what was the result in fact? Like in 1952, Congress party got 45% of the total votes, but it succeeded in winning 74% of seats. Imagine, 45% of total votes and 74% of total seats. Fine. Socialist Party, the second largest party, in terms of vote, in fact, that secured 10%, not in terms of seat. Okay, but it couldn't even win 3% of the seats. How did this happen? Why did this happen? The two system, children, you have discussed in last class, Indian Constitution at Work, one book you do have in standard 11th, in which the two kind of voting pattern you have discussed. One is the first past the post system, what do we practice in our country, and second is the proportionate representation, PR system we say, and we say it FPTP, first past the post. It means even the margin is of one vote, that candidate and the party will be declared a winner. Okay, so in this system, what we adopted in our country, that the party even won seats, the party gets more votes than others, tends to get much more than the proportional share. Vote percentage, suppose if there is a difference of 2% in their vote share, the number might be, or there might be difference of 50 to 100 seats. So this is exactly that went in favor of, or what worked in favor of the Congress party. And when we add up, means addition of the total votes of all the non-Congress candidates, it was much more than the votes of the Congress. But still, the non-Congress votes were divided between different rival, between different parties, and as a result, Congress was much more way ahead, simply was unparalleled, and it managed to win election years after year. Fine. So, this thing, what we say here, that somewhere the artificial boosting, Congress was artificially boosted by our electoral system. Okay, this is the thing, and this was how the Congress ensured its dominance in the first 3 general elections. Okay, thereafter we will discuss the role of the Socialist Party of India or the Communist Party of India. Simultaneously, we will discuss that also. Okay, so see, the election or the last Lok Sabha election of 2019, the way we discussed, this election in the early phase of our nation's history, political history, that has been much more interesting as compared to what we are finding nowadays, isn't it? So those days we are finding it was the unparalleled victory of the Congress party. Now, what made the Congress? What gave the Congress a clear start? Because it had the legacy of the national movement, freedom movement as well, or were there any other factor that we will be discussing next? Fine. Hope you must have understood it. Take care, stay safe, have a good time.